Don't ask lawyers, don't ask agents to choose a course for yourself. Ask yourself. I didn't have problem in understanding the accent. I didn't have problem communicating with people.
Yes.
I didn't have problem finding a job. Never ever get into shortcut ways of making money or climbing the ladder, because the department, Queensland Police, Australian Federal Police, is very active. I never had plans to settle in Australia. My plan was to finish my studies and then go back to India.
ये during ये जो 6 साल का experience as a with the migration agent or lawyer आपका कैसा रहा?
So things were not as fast as today.
Before, yeah.
So I spent about 8 to 9 months before I got my scores that I wanted. Money will come and go. You can't control the money. But education, if you have education, if I lose my house, if I lose my income, I can lose anything. But education is something that nobody can take it from you. It is not about a lawyer. It is not about an agent. It is about a case. If the case has merits, anybody can help you. And see how you can use your overseas qualification in gaining permanent residency in Australia. The department has refused a visa because ये लगता है इनको कि आपका relationship आपके wife के साथ में genuine नहीं है. But I thought कि this gives me an opportunity to make a difference in people's life. This gives me an opportunity where I can help people who actually need help.
You invested another 3.5 years to become a lawyer.
And $121,000. At Aventus Immigration Lawyers, you can contact us at 0435 929 328. I am the only one that will answer all my calls. The reason is very simple. The universities are losing money, sir.
Salam, Namaste, Sat Shri Akal and Game Show. Welcome to our brand new series called Immi Talks. In this series, we're going to cover each and every single migration issues and problem with the professionals and industry professionals or industry leaders. Welcome to our show, Mr. Dhaval.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you coming today in our show.
Thank you.
And let's start with, could you please tell us about yourself to our viewers?
Sure, sir. My name is Dhaval Rajendra Mandan. I was born in India. And I have lived in Australia since 2005.
Okay.
I initially migrated to Australia as a student.
Okay.
And I have got 4 degrees in Australia.
Okay.
And that is what I am.
Okay. Dhaval ji, हम यहाँ पे before we go further, I give you a little bit about our audience.
जी सर.
हमारी audience जो है वो इंडिया, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल and श्रीलंका and अफगानिस्तान. These are the top 5-6 जो countries के जो people हैं जो ऑस्ट्रेलिया में migrate भी हैं और जो ज़्यादातर जो बंदे migrate होना चाहते हैं वो भी हमारा चैनल जो है वो सब्सक्राइब करते हैं एंड दे आर इवन मेंबर्स इन आवर फेसबुक ग्रुप्स एज वेल. इंडियंस इन ब्रिस्बेन, पंजाबी इन ब्रिस्बेन, गुजराती इन ब्रिस्बेन, फिजियन इन ब्रिस्बेन एंड मलयाली इन ब्रिस्बेन. ये हमारे 5 कम्युनिटी ग्रुप्स हैं जो स्पेशली जो रिसेंटली माइग्रेट होता है. दे आर लाइक अ काइंड ऑफ हेल्पिंग ईच अदर्स बेसिकली. तो दीज आर आवर ऑडियंस.
जी सर.
और ये जो सीरीज हमने चालू करी है इमी टॉक्स, ये आप हमारे सबसे पहले गेस्ट हो. आप हिंदी, इंग्लिश, पंजाबी किसी भी लैंग्वेज में आप बात कर सकते हो क्योंकि हमारे व्यूअर्स जो हैं ये तीनों लैंग्वेजेस अंडरस्टैंड करते हैं.
जी सर.
एंड जो भी लैंग्वेज में आप कंफर्टेबली आप रखना चाहें, मुझे कोई परेशानी नहीं. आप हिंदी पंजाबी दोनों को भी आप रख सकते हो. इंग्लिश मिक्स कर सकते हैं बीच में, कोई इशू नहीं है. तो लेट्स स्टार्ट. आप इंडिया में कहाँ से हैं?
Sir, I come from a beautiful place called Ahmedabad, that is in Gujarat. I was born in Ahmedabad, but my family, blessed to be coming from the two best worlds. My family is from Punjab, and I was born in Gujarat. So luckily I speak very fluent Punjabi, very fluent Hindi, and very fluent Gujarati
as
of
well?
course, yes, and English of course.
That's great. That's a very deadly combination, I must say. And these two states, people are all over the world basically. Punjabi and Gujarati.
Yes.
And you are sitting in here. Your parents is from Punjab.
Yes.
And you born in Gujarat. कोई ऐसा वाक्य आप हमारे साथ शेयर करना चाहे? Good and bad apples in everywhere. In every industry. I receive a tons of messages, Bhaiya, can you please help me? I'm in this situation or I'm in that situation. We're not gonna name in here. But कोई ऐसा वाक्य जो आप शेयर करना चाहे हमारे साथ, अच्छा या बुरा?
See, उस time पे sir, people find it that getting permanent residency was easier than today.
Yes.
Comparatively, yes. It was easier in few aspects where I had to finish my studies. I finished my studies. And then I applied for my permanent residency after that. आज आपको बहुत सारे requirements हैं that you need to have a job in your field.
Yes.
At that time, that was not the requirement. The requirement was to score as high as you could in English.
Yes.
Now we all agree and we all understand that IELTS at that time was the only option students had. आज आपके पास में TOEFL का ऑप्शन है, आपके पास में PT का ऑप्शन है, आपके पास में IELTS है. But when I was a student, the only option we had was IELTS. So people who use migration agents, they sometimes people pretend to be migration agents. They don't know. There are education agents out there. There are people who are not registered, portray themselves as migration agents, portray themselves as immigration lawyers. So I suggest everybody that goes to a lawyer or to a migration agent to check the relevant register first. अगर आप migration agents को check करना चाहते हैं तो इनके लिए ओमारा की website होती है and you can go and you can put their names, their business names, first name, last name, and you can find out whether or not that person is registered to advise you, because these migration agents, lawyers, relevant state की किसी भी law society की website पे there is a register of solicitors that you can go and see whether or not this person is a solicitor or is a lawyer or claiming something, someone he is actually the right guy or the right person to talk to.
Right. Okay, धवल जी आप मेरे को थोड़ा सा ये बताएं, अभी आपने ये भी बताया कि कैसे हम इनको चेक कर सकते हैं कि इट्स अ पर्सन हु क्लेमिंग इमिग्रेशन एजेंट और इमिग्रेशन लॉयर, ये आपने बताया हमें. सबसे पहले तो आप हमें ये बताएं कि ये जो इमिग्रेशन एजेंट एंड इमिग्रेशन लॉयर, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू?
So immigration agent, आप आज 1 साल का कोर्स करके you can become a registered immigration agent. And if you want to become a lawyer, the process is not so simple. You have to undertake studies firstly for at least 3 years, and then practical legal training for 6 months, and then you have to work under supervision for 2 years before you are an unrestricted practitioner. So the main difference basically is that lawyers do spend considerably more time becoming a lawyer.
Immigration lawyer.
Yes. But the main difference is it all comes down to the practice. It is not about a lawyer. It is not about an agent. It is about a case. If the case has merits, anybody can help you. Either or. I know some fantastic migration agents who are wonderful at what they do. Lawyers consult them to see what their advice is or what their opinion is. And then there are lawyers who are also equally experienced. Choosing a lawyer, they are in a position to advise you on multiple areas if they practice in that area. Say for example, migration agents are only restricted to advise in migration related areas. जब आप देखें, जब भी कोई इशू होता है sometimes, say for example husband wife की लड़ाई हो गई, so that only does not involve migration law, it also involves family law.
That's correct.
somebody who has been charged with a sexual assault matter or a case, the migration agent will not be able or will not be in a position to advise them in that criminal matter as well. Unka professional indemnity insurance will not allow them to advise in those areas. But if there is a lawyer who practices in both, say for example, I do take up criminal matters as well, it helps or it gives me the edge to advise them in immigration matter and the criminal matter as well, that how that criminal matter will impact someone's migration status, because it overlaps. Both the areas of law overlap. So if you choose a lawyer, they will have an upper hand in advising you in multiple areas of law, while as migration agents can only stick to
migration only.
Correct. And not just that, when you go to the court, unfortunately migration agents are not allowed to represent their clients at a court level. They can brief a solicitor or a barrister representing the clients in the court, but in courts migration agents can't.
It's called a AAPT or
Administrative Appeals Tribunal, AAT.
AAT.
That is not the court, but that is a step or a department before you access the court. Correct.
Okay.
So if you look at the hierarchy of our legal system, you have Department of Home Affairs, then you have Administrative Appeals Tribunal, which is called AAT as well, and then you have Federal Circuit Court and Federal Court and then High Court. So that is the hierarchy.
Okay. So तो आपका जो ज़्यादा suppose करें अभी एक student I just received like a kind of last week a message and I just say कि please I can't comment or suggest you anything. All you need to do is to go to immigration lawyer or the immigration agent. But now while you're talking and I'm just thinking it's not even immigration agent job anyway. You definitely need an immigration lawyer. So
immigration agents can represent clients at the tribunal level. But if there are any issues at the tribunal level and the client has to go further appeal the decision at the court level, then you would definitely need a lawyer.
Can't do anything.
Correct. That is right, sir.
All right. Okay. Now I'm learning. I'm learning today. और मेरे ख्याल से हमारे व्यूअर भी आज बहुत कुछ सीख के जाने वाले हैं.
जी, absolutely, sir. I'll try my best.
Okay, धवल जी, ये आपकी सर्विसेज you're saying that's beautifully and really appreciate that you're bringing on these issues and knowledge today. अभी मेरे को आप थोड़ा सा डिटेल में बताएं ये जो AAT
जी सर
जब किसी का रिफ्यूजल हो जाता है
जी
they were on panic mode, they were on very bad shape.
Correct.
And that's the where is I receive tons of messages where they are basically want my help and I can't do that anyway. I'm not a licensed, I'm not a certified lawyer or agent. So can you tell me in details about AAT when the visa is refused?
जी sir. You can take your matter to the Administrative Appeals Tribunal, AAT, if your visa is refused or cancelled.
Okay.
Let's talk about refusal. AAT is a very important step, sir. It is जब भी आपकी AAT की hearings होती हैं, AAT का जो नजरिया है matters को review करने का, that is very unique. For example, what I mean that by is, for example, अगर आपका वीजा जब रिफ्यूज होता है, केस ऑफिसर might not agree with all the facts that you have presented at the departmental level. But when you go to the AAT hearings are de novo hearings. What that means is what the case officer at the departmental level has said, they are not going to depend their answer or their outcome on the department's assessment. They are a body that will independently assess the situation and give their opinion.
Right.
The difference between the AAT and the department is that the member who is giving the decision on your matter or the review matter is at least a solicitor or a barrister or someone who is very highly knowledgeable in that area.
Okay.
So if a department has refused a visa because ये लगता है इनको कि आपका relationship आपके wife के साथ में genuine नहीं है.
Right.
And those decisions can get overturned at the tribunal level.
Okay.
Because they assess the entire situation. You get an opportunity to not just write and give written submissions, you also get an opportunity to attend the hearing and put your side of the story. So when case officer gets to see what is happening, like if it is a employer-based visa that has refused, they have because looking at a matter where an employer is supporting their employees or a husband and wife when they have children, it should not be refused, but sometimes it could be an error from the department side as well. कि उन्होंने fully assess नहीं करे situation को and they just refuse the visa. At tribunal level, it is very important, and tribunal is a golden chance for applicants because tribunal एक ऐसी जगह है जहाँ पे आप वो भी evidence provide कर सकते हैं जो आपने डिपार्टमेंट में नहीं प्रोवाइड किया. So they will look at the entirety of the matter. Say for example, अगर कोई रिफ्यूजल मैटर कोर्ट में जाता है तो कोर्ट आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं देगा to add or adduce new evidence. They will only see whether or not there has been any error of law. Or the interpretation of law. Or any jurisdictional error. Now, a lot of people go to the tribunal and they've lost that opportunity or refusal aa gaya hai, and they want us to represent them at the court level. We clearly tell them that they've lost that opportunity. Because now Federal Circuit Court is not going to allow them to add new or more evidence into the picture. While as tribunal will give you as many opportunities as you wish because it is natural justice कि आपको पूछें और आपको बताएं, and it is very important to take a professional with you to the tribunal. I will share an example with you.
Please.
जहाँ पे I represented a client at a tribunal level. It was a refusal for RSMS subclass 187 visa. And the member that came to review our case, she was not ready. Clearly with the questions she was asking, she clearly mentioned 186 while asking questions, and I had to stop and say, look, this is a review hearing for 187, not 186, and this happened 4-5 times, and at that time I got very upset with the fact that she's not read the case, she's not who is understanding the matter, not asking relevant questions. Tribunal में जब आप जाते हैं, most of the time it is the applicant who does the talking, but a lawyer or a migration agent that is there to see whether or not the correct procedures are being followed, whether or not there are grounds for jurisdictional errors. अगर jurisdictional errors होते हैं, biased people when they have a member who has already decided in their mind what they need to do, so not giving you a proper opportunity to speak, and when they are not aware of the complete facts. So there are multiple jurisdictional errors that can happen, but of course the applicant is not going to know what is happening with me. When I started having an argument with the member कि we don't think you are prepared for the hearing, my clients were thinking I'm insulting them, but that is not how it works. It is very important. अगर हमारा code of conduct है तो members का भी code of conduct है. So lucky enough we put a complaint in. My clients were not very happy because they were thinking वो ये एक mindset चला आ रहा है कि आप इनके बारे में ऐसा मत बोलिए थोड़ा, but it is not about anybody. Nobody is above the law in Australia. Everybody has to follow the protocol, the procedures. I brought it to the tribunals. And when you are right, you have a full right to bloody fight back. Simple as that. But applicants sometimes don't. They go and represent themselves thinking it will be okay, and उनको खुद नहीं पता चल पाता है कि उनके साथ jurisdictional errors हुए हैं. The member is being biased with them. They are not getting a proper natural hearing what they are entitled to, और जो उनका एक right है वो उन्हें नहीं पता चल पाता है. अगर एक प्रोफेशनल इनके साथ है, be it a migration agent or a lawyer,
Yes.
will help them to identify these errors. And if you go to the court
Yes.
and challenge the department's or the tribunal's decision on these jurisdictional errors,
Yes.
it can go in your favor. I've seen number of times a matter gone to court and the court has agreed that there has been jurisdictional errors and it has been referred back to the tribunal for reconsideration.
अच्छा मिस्टर धवल, मेरे को आप ये बताओ, it's when is a particular time limit between the visa refusal and you able to apply that in AAT?
Yes, this is a very good question. It is 21 days to apply if you have a refusal, and the day it starts, the time starts from the day you receive the notification that your visa
Via
has been
email.
refused.
Yes.
So there are people who will think 21 days will start from maybe tomorrow, and then it has been on 22nd day. अगर 22nd day पे आप अपील के लिए apply करेंगे, you have no leg to stand on.
No.
The legislation is very clear. The rules are very strict. That the appeal must be lodged within 21 days of receiving the refusal.
And technically, either you like appeal it in there, or you have to leave the country.
Or depart the country in 35 days. Yes.
Wow. So that's a very important one.
Very important. If you're representing, if your case is being reviewed at the tribunal level, very, very recommended to go there with a lawyer or a migration agent.
Okay. And you guys are specialists for...
We deal in lot of migration matters, visa cancellation matters, visa refusal matters. And this is where my education helps me to identify those jurisdictional errors, and if needed, we can assist the clients at the Federal Circuit Court as well.
All right. So 2007, you become a registered MRAN.
Correct.
Okay. So even you become a registered immigration agent, we can say that on 2017, you invested another 3.5 years to become a lawyer.
And $121,000.
And $121,000. How, okay, I don't know, you can refuse to answer as well, but how you support? That's a big amount and that's a big time.
There was a time I lost a lot of business during my studies. I physically could not, I could not spare time for my business. I reduced my working hours. Luckily, I was in my own business. There were clients that I could not help because I was focused on studies and exam.
Yep.
But I was just very motivated and focused to finish what I started. The reason why I started was always in the back of my mind.
That's wonderful. If you remember why you started,
yes,
that's the main.
Your why has to be very strong.
That's true. That's true. And this is for everyone and for everybody. Always remember your why.
Absolutely, sir.
You know, that's the main thing. When did you start your own firm?
2023, sir.
23.
Yes.
What's the name of your firm?
My firm's name is Aventus Immigration Lawyers.
Aventus. Where's the office based on?
It's in Brendale, sir, in Queensland, north of Queensland.
North of Brisbane.
North of Brisbane, yes.
Sorry. Brendale. Okay, okay. And what is your USP? If you like, what main services you offer in your firm?
So in my firm, sir, we offer mainly immigration services, but we also offer conveyancing services.
Okay.
I work very closely with a solicitor who is very experienced in criminal law. So there are criminal matters that I appear on behalf of clients, sometimes in the court, from magistrate courts to district courts. I also sometimes work as a town agent where I appear in the courts on behalf of other law firms, particularly criminal matters. Family law is something that I avoid because it's very emotional. बहुत ज़्यादा emotional field है वहाँ पे.
True.
So
you have to be cold-blooded.
Correct. And it's not my cup of tea. Let's put it that way. Not everybody can do every single area of law. There are people who choose to particularly
comfortable.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I can see that. Like you're not raised on cold-blooded. Basically, you are raised with the full emotions, and I can feel that. That's beautiful. That's a beauty of our, I think, culture as well. Like you still. While we're talking in 2024 and you still remember your dad's vision. Correct. You still remember your mom's, like the dialogue she talked about the Lakshmi ji and Saraswati ji. You still bring and you still remember that and again the why.
Same thing I try and pass it on to my kids. Same thing I try and tell people here in Australia.
Yes.
Because what I've noticed is today's generation is very short-sighted.
Yes.
Their goals are only up to the PR. Like I started my university degree after I was a PR, after I was a citizen. But today people don't have a goal or the limit to push themselves.
True.
To study. Like you go to Australian universities. When I was studying at Bond, I experienced or I came across people who are in their late 40s or early 50s. Even they are coming to university to study, to upskill themselves.
Yes.
While as our community people, एक बार इनका PR हो गया, they just drop the ball.
More comfort zone.
Yes, they just drop the ball. They don't want to push themselves.
True.
But
that is sad, but and it's a ugly and bitter truth for sure. Not so many people gonna admit it, but this is the after the PR, they just go in the comfort zone. और बड़ा काम कर लिया.
जी, absolutely.
खून आराम कर.
Agree. But that should not be the way.
No,
that is not what we are made for. That is not what we are here for.
No.
Just keep learning because you have to set an example for your students, for your kids as well.
Yep, true.
It is very important that you set an example for your children. It is very good practice for you to study, of course.
Yes.
Study anything. Study any skill-based job. Study any profession-based thing. You know, anything that makes you happy or anything that you want to do. Getting a PR should not be your goal.
No. That is like a start of the kind of, that's your starting line, should be the starting line to start a new venture, basically, you know, as a citizen, as an Australian citizen. Now you don't have any restrictions, now you don't have any kind of foundations while we are on student visa or any kind of visa. आप मुझे ये बताएं, आजकल बहुत ज़्यादा थोड़ा सा पैनिक मोड में है हमारे स्टूडेंट्स लोग जो है
जी.
चेंजेस बहुत हो रही है
जी सर.
सॉरी. और यूनिवर्सिटीज और कॉलेजेस का भी कोई चल रहा है
जी
कि आप शायद मूव नहीं कर सकते हो.
जी सर.
वो सारा केस क्या चल रहा है, अगर आप थोड़ा सा प्लीज डिटेल में बता.
श्योर सर. ऑस्ट्रेलियन माइग्रेशन में काफ़ी चेंजेस आ रहे हैं. रिसेंटली लेबर गवर्नमेंट इज इन पावर, सो दे आर मेकिंग देयर चेंजेस. But every change that comes, there is a reason behind it. It is also very important कि हम underlying issues को समझें. As a habit, I keep listening to debates in Parliament, and especially if it is immigration related. I was just listening recently to one of the debates from one of the members in Parliament. ये कह रहे हैं कि हमने 1 लाख अकाउंटेंट्स को वीजा दिया टू स्टडी अकाउंटिंग. 1 लाख बच्चों ने अकाउंटिंग फिनिश करी. बट जो जॉब मार्केट में अकाउंटेंट्स की स्पेस थी वो आज भी 1 लाख की 1 लाख ही है. द रीजन फॉर दैट इज, एज आई सेड, पीपल जस्ट बिकम परमानेंट रेजिडेंट्स आफ्टर स्टडीइंग इन अकाउंटिंग. देयर वाज अ टाइम व्हेन अकाउंटिंग वाज द हॉट फेवरेट subject for students because ये लोग क्वेश्चन भी, बच्चे भी यही पूछते थे कि हम पीआर कैसे ले सकते हैं, हमें ऐसे कोर्सेज बताइए जो हमें पीआर दिला सकते हैं. तो एंड अकाउंटिंग वाज अ हॉट केक दैट वाज सोल्ड टू मिलियंस एंड मिलियंस ऑफ पीपल, बट नोबडी वर्कड एज एन अकाउंटेंट इन देयर फील्ड. Same with IT. A lot of people were sold IT courses, IT degrees to study IT because that was the most shortcut way to becoming a
permanent resident.
Permanent resident, yes. So the government has realized कि आज people who are becoming permanent residents are not working in their particular fields. Yes. So to push them in working their fields, now they have brought up changes like you need to be working in your field. If you work in your field that you have studied for at least 1 year, you can claim 5 points. After 3 years, you can, or up to 3 years, you can claim 10 points. So they are awarding people in a way to work in their field of studies, so that they can actually address the shortage that has been in that industry for a very long time. So जैसे कि मैंने पहले बताया, बच्चे were not required to study and they could apply permanent residency straight away. In today's time and age, आपको अगर permanent residency चाहिए, from what my analysis is, the government's vision is that you need to be working in your field. If you're not working in your field, sadly PR आपके लिए मुश्किल होती चली जाएगी.
Okay. और ये जो अभी यूनिवर्सिटी से कॉलेज वाला जो उसका क्या चल रहा है सर?
काफी चेंजेस आए सर. फॉर एग्जांपल वेयर पीपल यूज्ड टू कम टू यूनिवर्सिटी एंड देन दे वुड मूव ऑन टू a vet sector. So we have vocational education sector, and then we have higher education sector. So the diplomas, Cert 3, Cert 4 are all covered under the vocational education and training sector. And when you have bachelor's or graduate diplomas, these are all under higher education system. So higher education system is expensive, as I said. They were being told to study into these programs. बच्चे आ रहे थे, but after coming here, they've realized that first, it is not their cup of tea. They've realized it is very expensive to study at a university level. And because Australia in reality is a blue collar country. So it is easier for them to become permanent residents as a tradie. So people choose to study cookery,
vocational college.
जी cookery ये लोग choose करते हैं mainly. Hairdressing तो not so much because it's not in the required skill list. But yes, you could still become a permanent resident as a hairdresser, motor mechanics, painters. So all these jobs or qualifications जिसको इंडिया में आप इतना
नहीं करते
वो यहाँ पर आकर के उन्हें realize होता है कि they have made the wrong decision in studying a course that is going to help them become a manager, while as managers in Australia are not required. अगर आप यूनिवर्सिटी में, ऑस्ट्रेलियन यूनिवर्सिटीज में अगर आप देखें, people doing MBA are ones who have got years and years of experience as head of the company, or they've managed a team of people and now they require MBA to move on. But while as in our country, in India, the trade is that, you will go and do MBA. Why do you want to do an MBA? What qualification, what skill set that is going to teach you? Nobody understands that. When they come to Australia, they realize this, the main difference. As I said, कि Australia एक blue collar country है. यहाँ पे एक plumber, एक electrician makes almost as good as money as a lawyer or a doctor. Once that sinks in, that reality sinks in, people decide to change their courses. People decide to change their career path, because यहाँ आकर के भी लोग, अब जो बच्चा इंडिया में बैठा है वो कभी भी इस चीज को देख समझ नहीं पाएगा, ना उसके पेरेंट्स समझ पाएंगे कि हमने हमारा बच्चा प्लम्बर बनाने तो नहीं भेजना बाहर. बट व्हेन ही कम्स हियर ही रियलाइजेस दैट प्लम्बर को यहाँ पे प्लम्बर की तरह नहीं ट्रीट किया जाता. प्लम्बर हैज एवरी इवन छोटे से छोटा काम करने वाले बंदे को पहले तो कोई काम छोटा बड़ा नहीं है. ठीक है, जो भी आप काम कर रहे हो आपकी पूरी रिस्पेक्ट है. And it is a skill set. People find themselves more comfortable doing plumbing jobs or handyman jobs
Yes,
rather
yes.
than becoming,
Yes.
you know.
It's just a different mindset basically. Like
Yes.
you know, it's a different mindset. When we came here, we have a like we don't used to it on these kind of jobs. But when we see in here, of course, it's a highly paid jobs anyway.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it's no any much difference anyway.
Yes.
That's true.
And the education level is very different. Like when
Exactly,
you look at
exactly.
teaching cooking in
Yes,
India versus
yes.
teaching cooking here,
True.
जमीन आसमान का फर्क है सर.
That's true. That's true.
जो equipments आपको मिलते
Exactly,
हैं, the commercial
exactly.
kitchens आपको मिलते हैं, it is next level.
That's
so people find themselves an area where they can
Yes.
show off their skill or
Yes.
they can see working as a chef. यहाँ पे अगर आप देखें chefs, celebrity chefs हैं,
That's true.
celebrity restaurants
That's
हैं
true.
यहाँ पे.
That's true.
Call it one hatted restaurants
Yes.
हैं यहाँ पे.
Yes.
So
तो धवल जी, लेकिन इसके अंदर जो अभी ये स्टॉप करा है इन्होंने
हाँ जी.
कि यू कांट स्विच फ्रॉम हायर स्टडी टू वोकेशनल कोर्स
जी सर.
और यू कांट degrade kind of from university to college.
जी.
What the reason behind or what thoughts behind to stopping
The
these?
reason is very simple. The universities are losing money, sir.
Okay.
Because if there are 100 students that come to university at what, $60,000 per student,
Yeah.
and 80% of them have moved out, so इनका budget हिल गया है. And people are just saying that they're using universities as a backdoor entry to gain access to Australia.
All
So the visa hopping जो कह रहे थे, जो एक बहुत नंबर में अब तक चला आ रहा था, that is no longer possible.
Okay. So what impact you see in your industry at this stage? जब से ये changes आई हैं,
जी.
उसका impact आप अपनी इंडस्ट्री में क्या मानते हैं अभी?
सर ऑनेस्टली स्पीकिंग ये एक बहुत बड़ा झटका लगा है टू एजुकेशन एजेंट्स.
Okay.
Migration agents who were working as migration agents and not so much as education agents, उनको इस चीज से ज्यादा फर्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए because their main domain is migration, not getting enrolled students into colleges and universities. Yes, the number has gone down, and I know a lot of my friends as well who are in this industry. They will be struggling.
Okay.
But that is just, the phase that we all have to go through.
Okay.
People will need to upskill and find something else to do for some time.
Okay. So today you a registered immigration lawyer sitting with us today. So what advice, as a professional advice,
जी.
do you able to give to our viewers?
जी.
To which way they choose? What advice you want to give it to? This is your camera, so you can speak directly to them.
Sir, the only advice that I like to give to my clients as well when they come, they ask me to choose a course for them. कि आप बताइए कौन सा course हम choose करें.
Yes.
And my advice is that don't ask lawyers, don't ask agents to choose a course for yourself. Ask yourself what you want to do. What work do you see yourself doing for 5 years, for 10 years? आप क्या काम करके अपने आप को खुश महसूस करते हैं? किस काम से आपको करने में you find a satisfaction? Choose that field. क्योंकि PR हो ना हो, अगर आप अपनी फील्ड में काम कर रहे हैं, that gives you a different level of satisfaction. And if I have to work as a lawyer in India or any other part of the world, I will not have a problem.
Or go and watch 3 Idiots at once more time.
Or watch 3 Idiots at one more time. Yes, correct.
Yeah, this is the whole message in the whole movie they're trying to do.
Correct.
Do what is you love to do.
Correct.
Don't
Don't
just
go behind money because money will come.
Money will
If you do what you like to do, say for
Yes.
example, I spend about 12, sometimes 15 hours, 16 hours at my office. सुबह से लेकर रात को 9-10 बजे तक मैं ऑफिस पे बैठा हूँ.
Yes.
काम कर रहा हूँ, but I don't feel tired. It's because I love my job. I love what I do. I never ever feel कि मुझे problems हो रहे हैं या मुझे अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है. I love what I do, and that is why it just gives me a satisfaction and a motivation, a push to keep doing what I'm doing.
No, that's wonderful, wonderful. तो धवल जी, अब आप थोड़ा सा आप अपने फर्म के बारे में
जी सर.
और अपनी जो सर्विसेज के बारे में अगर प्लीज डिटेल में अगर आप बता पाए कि माइग्रेशन अगर कोई आया है हमारे स्टूडेंट इंडिया से ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एंड ही लुकिंग फॉर सम काइंड ऑफ एडवाइस एंड एनीथिंग, what type of services you offer?
जी.
And in details, please.
My first request to all the viewers is to use someone who is registered, who is insured to advise and who is registered to provide you advice. बहुत सारे ऐसे cases देखे हैं मैंने personally जो highly qualified हैं इंडिया से, but or from any other part of the world, they come to Australia on a student visa. You could get your qualification assessed. And you can, while you are studying on a student visa, there are pathways available to you जिनको आप use करके आप permanent residency gain कर सकते हैं. Say for example, I met a client that was a lawyer from India and was studying Masters of Accounting in Australia. उन्हें आइडिया भी नहीं था कि ये अपनी qualification assess करवा सकते हैं यहाँ पे, and they can be registered simultaneously while they are on their student visa without changing any courses, without going into a different area. We help them get their qualifications assessed. We help them getting admitted into the Supreme Court. And while they were studying, even before their studies were finished, they could get their permanent residency as a solicitor.
Wow.
So always get your resume assessed by a registered migration agent or a solicitor जिनको इन areas के बारे में पता हो. अगर आप एक स्टूडेंट वीजा पे हैं तो that doesn't mean कि आप अपनी फील्ड नहीं चेंज कर सकते हैं या आपका प्रीवियस ओवरसीज से एक्सपीरियंस को आप असेस करवा करके आप यहाँ पे परमानेंट रेजिडेंसी ले सकते हैं. So there are ways, but do consult with the right people and follow their advice. Not just blindly. Go and do your own research on Google. आज आपके पास Google है, phones हैं जिसमें AI है. Use those features and see what you can do.
That's true. Use your own R&D first before you even jump into see someone.
जी.
Do your own research first. That's the main goal.
Yes, and never think that एक ही रास्ता है. There are multiple ways through which you can get permanent residency. As I said, की हुई education, आपकी की हुई पढ़ाई आपका साथ कभी नहीं छोड़ेगी.
That's so true.
That's so true. Always see a professional that can help you and see how you can use your overseas qualification in gaining permanent residency in Australia.
Right. So अभी हम रैप अप मोड में चलते हैं.
जी.
चलते चलते आप मुझे कोई ऐसा क्या कहते हैं हमारे व्यूअर्स के लिए कोई ऐसा अच्छा जो आप प्रैक्टिस के बाद आप कहो कि यार ये मैंने आज जो है ना मेरी लाइफ का ये बेस्ट दिन है, कोई ऐसी मोमेंट हम चाहते कि हमारे व्यूअर्स के साथ आप जाते जाते शेयर करें.
सर ऐसे तो एनी अप्रूवल दैट कम्स माय वे, I feel great that day. I feel like partying that day. Any refusal that comes my way, we are disheartened. Nobody wants refusal, but that is part of the game.
Yes.
And there are bigger plans behind. Universe is playing a bigger plan. So refusals always makes you unhappy. Unfavorable outcome always makes you unhappy.
Yep.
The message that I would love to give to the viewers is do the right thing. Lately I have come across young people that are coming here. ये लोग शॉर्टकट की तरफ बढ़ गए हैं. शॉर्टकट से पैसा कमाना है. It's very sad to see हमारे बच्चे आ रहे हैं हमारी कंट्री से and they are involved in offenses like stealing, scamming.
Wow.
Please don't do it. Never ever get into shortcut ways of making money or climbing the ladder, because the department, Queensland Police, Australian Federal Police is very active. Don't take shortcuts. Do the right thing. Study and work in the field that makes you happy, and whatever you study, अगर आप अपने आप को काम नहीं करता देख सकते हैं उस फील्ड में, तो please don't study in that field and waste your valuable time.
Okay. That's wonderful. Dhaval ji, very very great message. I must admit it. अब आप हमारे व्यूअर्स को अपनी फर्म के बारे में डिटेल में और अपनी सर्विसेज के बारे में डिटेल में आप बताना चाहे, द कैमरा इज योर्स एंड प्लीज।
Sure. So we at Aventus Immigration Lawyers, हम आपको we can help you with any visa subclass that you require, be it partner visa or 189 visa or tribunal representation, writing submissions, representing you at federal circuit courts, and conveyancing. We've just recently started doing conveyancing. So if you need any of those services, you can contact us at 0435 929 328. Most of the time, I am the only one that will answer all my calls and answer all your queries that you have. So from partner visas to independent GSM category visas or employer sponsored visas, be it 482, 189, 309, 820, we can help you with any of those visa subclasses.
That's great. Latest आजकल last time I heard about 189 or 457 I think.
457 is scrapped now. Is scrapped, but उसका जो replacement आया है, which is 482 visa.
Okay.
There are major changes coming into 482 visas from 23rd of November 2024.
Okay.
The government has again listened to the issues where people were required. अभी तक ये rule है कि you need 2 years of work experience to apply for 482 visa. But
in regional area or anywhere?
Okay. Metro or regional.
Okay.
But from 23rd of November, the work experience requirement is being reduced from 2 years to 1 year.
Okay.
तो अगर आपके पास में 1 साल का वर्क एक्सपीरियंस है and you have relevant qualification, skills assessment, not in all the cases, but it's always good to have skills assessment done. You can apply for 482 visa if you have got English requirements, which is very basic. Compared to other subclasses, it is very relaxed. अगर आपके पास 1 साल का वर्क एक्सपीरियंस है, अगर आपके पास में स्किल्स असेसमेंट है और आपके पास में एम्प्लॉयर स्पॉन्सर, someone who is ready to give you sponsorship for that position,
yes,
you can apply for 482 visa. You can also apply for partner visas if you are on a student visa or on a 482 visa or any other substantive visa. You could still apply for a partner visa, and you can contact us to see what the requirements are, to see whether or not you are breaching any conditions while you are applying for those different visas while holding a different visa. Contact a professional. You can contact us or any migration agent or a lawyer to discuss your eligibility.
That's wonderful. One more time, your company name and contact details with the email address.
My company name is Aventus Immigration Lawyers. Email is matters@aventussolicitors.com. And my phone number is 0435 929 328.
That's wonderful. That's so great. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you, sir.
And I hope हमारे viewers के लिए जो ये knowledge है और जो हमारी इस एपिसोड का जो करने का जो बेसिक मोटिव था वो यही है कि आपकी हम हेल्प कर सके। आपके कोई भी सुझाव हो, कोई भी क्वेश्चन हो, आप कमेंट में कर सकते हैं एंड यू कैन कॉन्टेक्ट हिम डायरेक्टली। मिस्टर धवल, one more time, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. And तब तक के लिए sign off.